Nicole, welcome to Podcastina.
Oh, Podcastina. Galina Rivina, the Podcastina. You have my absolute favorite name to say.
Thank you so much.
Like, I'll never just say your first name. I'll always say your full name.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
It's just got such a... Did your mom name you that, realizing? I'm sure she realized it had a ring to it.
No, and this is the thing. In Ukraine, my name was not like a rhyming. That's the thing. Yeah, that's fully...
What's your Ukrainian pronunciation?
It's still Galina, but nobody fucking calls me that at all. Everybody calls me Galia.
Why that and why not your name?
It's basically Galia's a nickname. So it's the equivalent of if my name was like Alexandria and nobody ever called me that and I just always went by Alex. And so the presumption is that it wasn't going to rhyme. Plus there's this cultural thing where anywhere around that area, Russia, Ukraine, former Soviet Union states, they slap an A onto women's last names. So I'm the only one in my family with my last name. My dad is Rivine.
That's so crazy.
Yeah. It's illogical. And it's the same with my mom. Like, she has a last name with an A on it, as opposed to my grandpa. He has a different last name. And every woman I know has an A.
Why is that?
Probably because we're possessions. And it's to show who we're the daughter,
I think
the wife
need
of.
to research this and find out the exact reason for it, because that's really interesting.
It is, and I've never looked into it.
I mean, it's the, I think a lot of languages have, in French, they add an E for feminization. So maybe it's just your language's version of feminization of things. But it's just like, it's like, why that? Why specifically A?
Maybe it's similar to, did you take languages growing up?
French.
You know how they also do it?
Like French. It's they add an E to everything. Everything's like, there's, I can't even remember all the things to even call it, but it's like, is like the certain objects are either feminine or masculine, and I've never, like, it's always so funny. It feels so arbitrary where they'll be like,
biblioteca versus, because the library's female versus a male object.
Why is un tableau? Why is a
oh.
By the way, everyone listening, Monty is
hacking up
something. He's, by the way, he doesn't shed for how furry he is.
Correct.
Truly astounding. I expected to. Oh, hi there. I expected to hold him when I came in and just be absolutely doused in fur, but nothing.
It stays attached to him until the moment I start grooming him, and when I'm brushing him, and I could brush him every single day, and a football amount of fur comes off
really?
when I brush him.
A whole dog amount of fur.
A whole dog amount of fur comes off. But
do you brush him every day?
No, I really ought to. I brush him 1 to 2 times a week.
Okay.
He hates it, so I don't like to do it that often to him because he will try to get away from it.
He really is just such a cute dog. It's wild.
Thank you.
Hi, guy.
I got so lucky. Everyone gets so lucky. Like, I don't know anyone who's not just head over heels obsessed.
Having a dog is lucky. I don't know. I mean, there's some dogs. I mean, I love dogs more than anyone I know, period.
You do?
I am absolutely mentally unwell when it comes to dogs. But I can say that there are dogs that are way cuter than other dogs and way better. Like, he's got a really good personality and he's really super cute.
Well, thank you.
He just looks like a cotton ball with legs.
It's true.
I wanted to... Wait, what did you say your nickname was? Galia?
Here's the thing. Americans can't pronounce it correctly.
Just
because
I'm going to do it. Fuck you. Fuck you. Challenge accepted. Say it.
Galia.
Galia.
Nope.
Do it again.
Galia.
Gaia.
Do you hear what the issue is?
Say it.
Galia.
Gala.
There's this YL combo in the Russian language that if you don't grow up making that sound, it's incredibly hard to learn. It's
Where
its
are you
own
making
letter.
it in your mouth?
It feels like my tongue is flattening out and expanding.
La.
Galia.
Galia.
And Americans always say Galia.
Galia. Galia.
You're close.
Galia. Guys, I am Ukrainian. I should be able to get this. Like, that is my ancestry.
Yeah, but its Slavic languages are very difficult.
Yeah, wild. I mean, I remember in college, I was an art history major, and I took a lot of Chinese art because there's this there was a professor at Michigan who was like a world-renowned professor in Chinese art. His last name was Marty Powers. Martin Powers? Yeah, that's what it was.
It's a badass name.
I mean, but this guy, the whitest man you have ever seen in your life. And he spoke like 6 dialects of Chinese. Wow. And not just spoke them, but like perfected them. To the point where there were Chinese kids in some of the classes who were there from China, not American Chinese, like China. And the professor would start speaking in Chinese. Like if there were a slide and he was like, oh, this is from the province of and I'm like, what just happened? It was so amazing. It sounded so good. And I was impressed by it. I didn't know if it was accurate or not. I didn't know if like his pronunciation and enunciation of things was spot on. And then you'd look over and see these Chinese kids in class. Their minds are just melting. And they were like, wow, like pitch perfect. They are like, we would have thought that came out of someone from China.
I love watching Asians react to whites learning their languages because I think it is so shocking because it doesn't happen as much, right? I feel like they're all forced to learn English. Yeah. And meanwhile, Americans, first of all, don't really go out of their way to learn any other language.
Yeah, no. But let alone to learn a language that there's no alphabet that's similar.
Not at all.
So it's like with your language, there's some similar alphabet. You also have your own letters. Mm-hmm. But, you know, it's like Romance languages and Germanic languages. Like those are all, you know, same alphabet. I mean, lots of accents, but otherwise same alphabet. But yeah, to go to like Chinese where it's like you're literally learning how to read basically hieroglyphics. Mm-hmm. Or Japanese. I mean, it's so wild. But yeah, no, I think it's like the reason when you say the thing about the tongue, like unless you grew up being right, unless you grew up with that. I mean, I feel like it's the same thing with like Chinese. Like yeah, like there's this like pronunciation going on and like it's in the back of your throat. It's so wild. It makes me want to learn other languages, but I've struggled so much with just French.
Me too.
I think I'm like language like incompetent.
Language is one of those things where if you're not learning it as a child or if you're learning it as an adult and you don't have the opportunity to go be completely submersed in it, it's like impossible to pick up. Because even me growing up, and it's not like I grew up bilingual. I didn't learn English till I was 5, but at 5 you can pick up anything at all. And so when kids learn languages young, they just like retain it as long as they keep using it. But I've even noticed with Russian that because I don't use it as much, like I hear it every day, but I speak to my mom in English because I think in English, I dream in English. And there's people.
Do you ever think in Russian or dream in Russian ever?
No, not really.
Did you at all at any point?
I'm sure I did the first 5 years and maybe even after that to an extent. But as soon as I switched over, now when I speak Russian, it's with members of my family that don't have their English comprehension quite at that level. But what I notice happening for me is that I'll reach for a word. And if I hear it, I know what it means. Like I do speak it fluently still, but I will forget certain vocab words. I'll like reach for a word and not know what the fuck it is. Yeah. And then be confused. And then recently I learned that Russians don't have a word for thumb. I needed the word for thumb because I was working with a notary client who was Russian speaking and they had specifically requested me because I'm Russian speaking. And the word for thumb is just big finger. They don't have their own word.
Funny. What about big toe?
Yeah, same thing. Большой палец.
You know, thumb, like there's a specific word for this.
Right.
But it's just like they just used the same thing that you would say for a toe.
Exactly.
A big toe.
And it was one of those things.
Why does the big toe not have a special name like the big finger of the hand?
Yeah.
I feel like this is something that you would think about if you were super high. Like in for the first time in like high school, you're like, oh my God, why is there no name for the big toe like there is for the big finger? But I mean, I love that. Oh, Monty, you have little fur balls all over you.
He does. Everything gets trapped in this fur. He's like a man with a big burly beard where food particles are always getting trapped in it.
Let me hear.
And it's that equivalent with him.
The one out. There you go.
But similar to language, I feel like with sports, certain sports, if you don't pick them up as a child, you can't get the hang of them either.
I think it's just easier. Everything's just easier when you're younger. There's also like, there's less inhibitions and there's less fear. you know, it's like I grew up skiing, so I didn't have any fear involved in like taking chances. Cause like also when you're younger, you don't break as easy as you do when you're an adult. And I recently went skiing and I hadn't been in a few years and I had so much fear because I was like, if I hurt myself, like my insurance is not that good. Like I'm kind of fucked.
And your body is just going to take so much longer to recover if it ever really recovers.
If it ever really recovers. I don't believe you. There are certain injuries when you're older where you're just like, well, this is just your body now. You're just going to kind of always have like a dull, aching pain.
That scares the shit out of me, and that's part of the reason I won't get on a bird scooter. Number one, my deductible. Number two,
oh no, I don't have
that.
insurance. My health insurance is not nearly good enough for a bird scooter.
No, mine
like,
either.
I literally like when I was skiing, I was like, my insurance, I don't have good enough insurance to weather the storm financially of an injury, let alone just my physical body being able to handle it. And it's really like, that is one of the crazy things about like getting older is that you do have this fear about protecting your body.
As you should.
Yeah.
That's the wise thing.
But you don't have that when you're younger. You're just like, I'll, you know, bounce off a bumper. You know, you're fine. Like you're totally, as a kid, you're totally fine. But that's how you learn things. You learn things when there's no fear. Fear is the, you know, the thing that inhibits you from really like, you know, I think being able to like manifest your best self. Wow, that was really deep.
That was really deep.
Look at Monty right now. He's like, right on, bitch.
He's
right
processing. He's like, whoa.
Yeah.
What a statement.
Yeah, hi little guy. Yeah, I want to do more physical activities that are like kind of risk involved, but I'm like, nah.
What's your wish list?
I remember when we went to Costa Rica and we were surfing, I felt safe surfing there. And then I came back here and I'll see people surfing in LA and I'm like, oh, that looks really scary. Like surfing in Costa Rica was so gentle and I would never do it back here. Number one, the water. Like, how are we ever going to be able to go in the ocean again here?
It's something that I'm really having a hard time reconciling because part of why I enjoy living here is surfing and the ocean. Yeah. And I don't think realistically that the water here is going to be safe until after all the cleanup is done. I think that anytime it rains, anytime there's even high wind,
stuff is going to run in.
More stuff is going to run in. And it's not just the remnants of the burned houses. It's also the fire retardant is also getting in the water and on the beach. Yeah. And that's toxic as well.
Yeah.
So I don't think I can surf here until the cleanup is done. Yeah. And that's probably going to be a year or two.
Yeah.
And that's fucking devastating to me because that's the thing that I do to like soothe my nervous system.
Are there people surfing now?
Yeah.
There are people who are like, fuck it, who cares?
They're morons.
I mean, that is crazy. I mean, especially knowing what we know based on the cleanup from 9/11 and how toxic that was. I mean, it's just so crazy to think that, you know, people would think it's any different.
But I don't think they think. I think it's that thing of they're lacking those inhibitions and they're getting after it. And I don't know, it's really hard for some people to picture their future selves.
Also, is it stupidity or lack of fear? It goes back to the whole fear thing. Are they just not fearful people?
It's interesting we're talking about this because I'm reading a book right now called The Marshmallow Test. Are you familiar with this? So the marshmallow test is this test that I think was established by people studying psychology back in the 70s, and they've been running versions of this test for the last 50 years now. And they take little kids and they put them in a room and they tell them, hey, you can have this marshmallow right now, or you can wait 20 minutes for the instructor to come back and then you can have 2 marshmallows. So the test is about willpower and delaying gratification.
Yeah.
And my initial impetus for reading the book was to learn about willpower, whether that's something we can control and contort and work on, and delaying gratification.
Why did you want to learn about that?
Because I'm a freak.
Okay.
I think I try to learn stuff like that because I want to, A, have more compassion for people that I look at and feel like they don't have willpower. B, maybe have more compassion for myself, because if I learn that there's like a diagnostic scientific reason that something is wrong or something isn't adding up, it allows me to enter that compassionate space a little more.
Do you have trouble having compassion for people who lack willpower?
Sometimes. But it's because...
someone who has like an addiction to like food.
Sure. Yeah, I have judgments around that, and I don't want to.
Yeah.
But I definitely do. They're there. But they actually stem from judgment around myself. And anytime I see those qualities in other people, it's really because I hate that quality about myself, and I'm seeing it in them, and it's repelling me.
I dated a guy years ago, and he said something to me that changed the way I felt about like food addiction specifically. Because I grew up in a fat phobic house, for sure. I grew up in a house that always spoke disparagingly about people with large bodies, you
Same.
know? And I don't know if that's like a Russian thing, but it really was very much my mom's side of the family that did it. But my mom would always criticize my dad's side of the family because there were bigger people on my dad's side of the family. And my mom would always say, you know, she's built like a linebacker, like talking about different cousins. She's built like a linebacker, you know, built like Lenore, like she's just massive, you know. And it was just always, you know, criticizing, you know. And what's crazy is my mom's a doctor. Like she knows like about, you know, the metabolic process and how, you know, weight is a struggle for people, but she still, you know, criticized people's bodies. And I was always very, 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 very thin. And at school, people would make fun of me for being very, very thin. But my mom would always be like, no, it's beautiful. It's not, you're not big. So that's, you know, anyone who's criticizing your body is just jealous because they're big. And I'm like, nah, it's everybody criticizing how thin I was. But so there was always this like feeling about bigger people. And then I dated this guy, and his mom was very overweight, and I hadn't met his mom, and we were going to be meeting her in a few months. We were going to be going out to visit his family. And I remember we were parked at a light, waiting at a light, and there was a woman crossing the street, and the light changed, and she was like making her way across the street, and she was a big woman and was like physically handicapped because she was so big. And I was just like, oh my God, lady, move your fat ass along. Let's go here, you know?
We've all had that intrusive thought.
Yeah, 1,000%. But I said it in front of him, and he's like, Nicole, he's like, that's how big my mom is. He's like, are you going to feel that way about my mom when you meet my mom? And I was just like, yeah, I am. I'm not going to bullshit you. I will feel, I'm not going to not make that judgment because it's your mom. I will still make that judgment. I will still think she's a lovely lady and a lovely person, but I will think she is, in my head, I will be like, God, she's a fat ass. And like, I don't want to be that way. It's the same way. And then he said something to me, and he's like, food addiction is a very real addiction.
It is.
And I was like, come on. That, by the way, I was like 30 something. I was probably 30 at the time. And I was like, okay, but like if you're you could just like stop, you know? And he's like, because he was a recovering heroin addict. And so he's like, here's the difference between heroin addiction and food addiction and being in recovery from both of them. He's like, when you are addicted to heroin and you recover from your addiction to heroin, you can cut heroin out of your life. You never have to be exposed to heroin again. If you have friends who do heroin, you just don't go around those friends anymore. If if having heroin in the house, you don't even need to have heroin in the house. You just take it out of your house. It's out of your life. It is gone. He's like, if you have a food addiction, you still have to live and peacefully coexist with your drug of choice because you need your drug of choice to survive. He's like, finding that balance is near impossible. And when he explained it to me that way, I was like, oh my God, you're right. And then I remember I was going through IBS food issues at the time, and I had to restrict my diet and do a diet restriction and food elimination. And it was so hard for me. And he was like, see, he's like, you have to restrict food now, not because you're like overweight. He's like, but it's your food is killing your stomach. Mm-hmm. And in all of that, he just taught me so much with that. And I was like, oh, okay, food addiction is a very, very real thing. So I think it's the sort of thing where it's like having empathy for someone's, you know, anything, lack of willpower or whatever it is you're trying to have empathy for. Putting yourself in someone's shoes, I think truly is the only way to like write that into your DNA. Like you can think about it as much as you want, but until you like feel it in your bones and you can really walk in those shoes, I feel like it's really hard to get there. It's
Absolutely.
Really hard to be truly like sympathetic for someone.
It is. And I think at least part of the explanation of why maybe your mother was like this and maybe why I experienced so much of this too, and it helps me have a little more compassion for why they're so judgmental, is that especially if it's a woman, right? Like for them, they lived through the era where women weren't allowed to have credit cards, weren't really getting anywhere in their careers, weren't
no autonomy in any way.
No autonomy. So if you know, as far as beauty, one of the only things we can control is weight.
Yeah.
Or allegedly can control. Yeah. And so if you as a woman don't control your weight and don't make yourself a desirable size for a partner, you're not going to survive. Like that's an attack on your resources. Yeah. So that's the reason they're so sensitive about it, is because they grew up in this era of you better find a husband that can take care of you. Yeah. So if you're not controlling what you look like, you're not going to be desirable to a man who has resources. And that's kind of where that comes from. So in that way, I can look at it and have a little bit more sympathy from it. And then the thing that I've been getting out of this book, The Marshmallow Test, is that for people who aren't as good at delaying gratification, they're more driven by their amygdala is a little more activated, because that's the area of the brain that controls whether you make impulse decisions. It kind of lies it out as hot reactions versus cold reactions, cool reactions. So when you can cool down your impulses, that means you're using more of your frontal cortex. That part's more developed, that part's stronger and can kick online a little bit more when it comes to something. And what happens to children who grow up in inconsistent homes where they can't trust whoever their caretaker is, they're more likely to have bad impulse control because they don't trust that the person running the experiment is going to come back into the room and give them the 2 marshmallows. So learning things like that helps me have more compassion, because I kind of need a diagnosis. I need a scientific explanation. Yeah. I wish I didn't. I'm trying to change that about myself.
You don't need to change that about yourself. That's wanting an explanation that holds water. Like, I think that's a great way to go through life. Being curious about something to the point of wanting to find concrete evidence, I think that's great. I mean,
I think I torture myself with it is where it becomes an issue, because I have probably read every self-help book and
torture yourself with that. I mean, that sounds like a fine thing to torture yourself with. It doesn't sound that debilitating or bad.
There's worse ways.
There's worse ways to torture yourself. Trust me. I know. I do them. I think were you one of those kids who were always like, why?
I think I was that way, but that conversation was happening quietly inside my head and I wasn't actually asking.
Yeah.
I think I was alone a lot because I grew up an only child and I was left to my own devices a lot.
I think about what the experience of an only child versus a not only child is all the time. It's fascinating to me.
I was in my imagination a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was in my imagination a lot. I wasn't an only child, but my brother and I were so different at some point that it felt like I was an only child. Like, he was always there, but like he just at some point just kind of like rejected me and had no interest in me. There was a period of time where like there are pictures where it's like my brother was like very invested in me as his sister. And then eventually, like, I think probably by the time middle school rolled around, I was just such a nuisance to him. And that went on for a very long time. But like, you know, it's like I had a brother, but I did feel very alone and kind of like left to my imagination a lot. I remember my mom would always be like, you're grounded, go to your room. And I'd be like, cool, I get to be alone with my imagination. And I would just like go and play with my Barbie dolls and I'd have like a whole world, you know?
That's similar to what I did. I would just be in a corner by myself playing with dolls.
Yeah, so many dolls, so many dolls. And what's for me, I was a tomboy. The fact that I liked dolls as much as I did, and I was a tomboy, it's still one of those things where that math doesn't totally math. But yeah, no, I think that was the one thing where my mom and I did get along, is that I was a big why kid. And my mom is extremely smart and is also like very curious and intellectually advanced. So she has a lot of knowledge. So anytime I asked why, my mom would usually have an answer. And if she didn't, she'd be like, go check the encyclopedia. And like this was before I'm old. So we didn't have Wikipedia. And I'd burnt holes in our encyclopedias. Like I was in the encyclopedia, I mean, every single day looking up everything I could. And then when Wikipedia came out, my head exploded. Yeah. I was like, so you're telling me there's just a resource online where you can get all the information? Like, I love like the creation of Wikipedia, in my opinion, even though it's like at this point, like who knows if any of the information there's even true, but there's just so much. I mean, I love the internet. Like you could just know whatever you want. And now GPT. And I know people are like, oh, it's bad for the environment. Like, Ellery, you know Ellery Smith? Ellery Smith? Sometimes when I say her name, I feel like I'm having a stroke. Because her last name's so simple and her first name's so fantastic. Not that there's, whatever, your last name's Smith. It's a basic last name. But she was posting about how, you know, AI is really bad for the environment. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but like, there's just it's such an access to information in such a way it's like where it just compiles everything. It compiles all your, you know, if you go on Google and you're like, hey, Google, I have this question. Google will be like, here's a bunch of links. Go check them all out. And ChatGPT is like, I got it. I got it all for you right here.
It's been a godsend to me with this podcast because anytime I've had to learn anything software wise, I have a question about how to do something in Premiere Pro, I type it into ChatGPT and it gives me the exact answer, as opposed to before I was using that platform, I would go onto YouTube and then I would have to watch some guy be like, subscribe to my channel. Here's 5 minutes of bullshit before I tell you how to do the thing you're trying to do.
Major intro to like, oh, it's so infuriating. Yeah.
And then with ChatGPT, if something doesn't work, if I go, oh, well, I tried that and it didn't work, it then turns around and gives me a different explanation. So it has just been the reason that I've been able to teach myself how to take care of all of this stuff.
God, you've inspired me to like give Premiere Pro another chance, because I gotta say, it's tough. And what's crazy is I was a computer programmer in college. Like this shouldn't be so overwhelming to me, but the second I start doing Premiere Pro, I'm like, here's this. I need a bigger screen, and that's my whole thing. I'll be like, no. If I had a monitor. If I had a big monitor, I'd be able to do this. Yeah. This would be so much easier if I had a big monitor.
I mean, I'm doing everything on that laptop right there.
It probably would, but yeah, I think mine's that size. Yeah. I mean, I need to just suck it up and do it, but God, it is, you think about like the younger kids who are like growing up with this and how far advanced they're going to be when they're our age.
I do wonder though, and let me know how you feel about this. Is it hurting them because they're not being forced to learn anything really? I think there's parts of their brains
that are atrophying because of it. I mean, I don't even know if they're atrophying. They're just not growing. Like, I think there's parts of our brains that will atrophy.
Absolutely.
You know, but I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things where I think about Darwin and the concept of natural selection. And I wonder what Darwin would make of online dating.
What a great question.
Like, he would be like, what? There's nothing natural about this. This is the most unnatural of selections. Like, there's nothing animal about online dating.
No.
There's no biological explanation. It's very much like, you tell me if you do this, but sometimes I'll just be like swiping and I'll be like, I'll see a picture of a guy and I'll be like, oh, he's cute. And then I'll go to another picture and he'll be smiling and I'll be like, nah, he has too many teeth. Like, and I'm just like, did I just fully discredit someone because I felt like their smile had too many teeth? And I'm just like, that's crazy. And I will literally I'll swipe away. That's it. That will be the one thing. And I'm like, this guy could smell exactly could be the exact pheromonal imprint I've been looking for my whole life.
He could have the best vibe.
He could have all the intellectual curiosities that I do. He could, he could have a vision for the future of his life in the exact same way that I do. Who knows? But I just swiped away from someone because I felt like their mouth had too many teeth in it. And that was it. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, it makes me sad that this world is going to be building more humans based on all the wrong reasons. And it's not going to be survival of the fittest. It's going to be survival of the shallowest. It's going to be survival of the most meaningless connections. Like, and it's like, I don't know. I'm doing the dating thing, and there's times where I will, the whole concept of like an ick.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I get them for the mildest, dumbest things. Yeah.
Like, I'm like, what is... And I saw this thing on Instagram where some girl goes, I don't believe in icks. She's like, you don't have an ick for someone if you actually like them.
Correct.
Like, and I'm like, well, yeah, that's what it is. Like, you get an ick because you don't actually like someone. Like, something's icky. But I'm just like, also like, I don't know, once it's in your head and you're like, there's that thing, Catherine Blanford has this joke about right now about she went out with a guy and they went skiing together, and he was bad at skiing and he had to like scoot down the mountain to get down the mountain because he was too scared to ski down. And she was like, I saw him scoot and that was the end of it. She's like, I lost all interest after I watched him scoot. And it's like, there's something about, you know, a man being frail that's like unattractive. That I actually get.
I've had that happen to me. I got an ick. I went on a date with a guy after he had just had foot surgery, and so he was scooting around on one of those little
scooter
things. And I was like, oh, you can't even walk me to my car. Ugh.
By the way, my friend Cody, she had the same thing with a guy. She went on a date with a guy and he had like a broken foot or a broken leg, and Cody was just like, I mean, he's got like a broken leg. That like one date or something, I don't even know. And she's like, I don't know. It's just like she's like, I find it unattractive to see someone struggle physically. And then, you know, there's another friend of mine went out with a guy and they were at the park and he got stung by a bee. And then she was like, I can't. He got stung by a bee. I'm out. And it's just like, it's these things where it's like, we can't watch a man be frail. But if we're frail, men are like, oh, sweet girl, I'll take care of you.
Damsel in
distress. So it's like, to me, that to me, I understand that on the level of like biological, like that to me isn't an ick. That's like biology. Like women don't want to see men weak and struggle, and men want to see women weak and struggle, you know, because they're like, we can fix you. We can help you. We can take care of you. Where it's like,
we can scoop you up easily and put you in the basement if we want.
Yeah, exactly. We will be able to murder you with ease. But then we see a man struggle in any way and we're like, you can't, no, I'm out. But then there's the component of like the reason I'm discrediting someone for like too many teeth. I don't like the way he parts his hair. I don't like the way his hair is thinning. Mm-hmm. And it's like, listen, guys losing their hair, that is part of life. Also, go to Turkey. But like, to me, I'm just like, how is every man not flying to Turkey immediately? Like, save the money. It's like, in America, it's like minimum 10,000 to get hair plugs, I think. In Turkey, I think you can do it for like 3,000. And it's just like, guys, go, like, invest in that. Like, trust me, if something were that easy to fix on me as going to Turkey and I knew it would like make the biggest difference in the world, I'd go to Turkey for it. I'm probably going to be going to Turkey for like filler and all of that eventually because it's so much cheaper there. But it's like, whatever. Anyway, I'm not body shaming, but like, let's all try to like look our best, as whatever way it happens. But it's like, yeah, but it's so a man's hair thinning is inevitable. So, but it's like, I'll see men online and I'll be like, oh man, he's balding in that one spot that I just don't like. And I'm like, stop it, Nicole. Like, I'm not a prize pony. Okay. I'm not the hottest bitch on the planet. Like, like he could be amazing. But my shallow little brain is just in this swiping mode.
And it's built for that. The apps are built for that. And they're also built to keep you on there. They don't want you to find love because then you're getting off the site and they can't get advertising dollars.
Yeah, and they can't charge me to give a guy a fucking rose.
Right.
That whole, everything's just a trap on the apps.
It's so true. And I've talked about this on here before, but the only one I'm on is Raya, which is the douchiest of douchey apps ever. And it's like, I'm barely even matching with people on there.
But here's the thing. At least Raya is being transparent about how douchey it is.
Facts.
Like, Raya is not trying to be everyone's app.
Yeah.
Raya is just like, we're here for the pretty people. Mm-hmm. I once wrote to Raya and I was like, hey, can you please let me lower my age? Because I am not getting any matches. No one wrote me back. But it's like, Raya, if you are a woman in your early 30s, you're okay on Raya. That's the cutoff. Once you're over 35 on Raya, good luck.
Yeah, I noticed a steep fall off.
You better be wildly attractive and wildly successful for anyone to give a fucking shit about you. Mm-hmm. And, you know, it's one of those things where I was talking to my energy healer. Yeah, I said it. Yeah, I said it. I was talking to my energy healer, Haley. Shout out, Haley Lee. I love you. If you don't go to an energy healer, go to an energy healer. I believe in that shit now. I'm a woo-woo bitch. But Haley was like, I was saying how, you know, this guy I had dated, you know, didn't like me because I wasn't successful. Like, that was one of the things that was like a turn off to him. And she's like, that's just really not that's not a deal breaker for a man.
Correct.
Like, men want you to be happy and content in what you're doing with your life. But it's not like, no man is like, no, I guess, real man. I guess there are men out there who are like, yeah, I want to be with a girl who's got lots of money.
That's super beta.
That's super beta. But she's like, real men, she's like, any man worth dating is going to be like, yeah, I'm a provider. I'm a caretaker. Like, you know, she's happy doing what she's doing. Sure, she doesn't make the most money. Sure, she's not the, you know, the top of her industry. But like, men just want us to be happy. And they want to be with someone who's just a happy, content person. And if they want more than that, then they're using them for, you know, things. But I don't know. Maybe she's wrong. Maybe there are guys. By the way, my phone has never blown up more. Oh. I can't even tell you. I've gotten 5 spam calls since we've been here. I am absolutely the most popular person in India right now. Anyway, yeah, dating. I mean, are we going to go into it dating? But yeah, I just feel like Darwin would be like, what are you guys? You've made a mockery of this. Get out there, meet people. And it's like, yeah, I would love to get out there. Where?
Where is such a good question, because I'm trying to get away from, I'm not having any luck on Rio whatsoever, maybe because I did turn 35. But I think the disconnect for me is that the guys that I have found attractive in person, I would have never swiped right on them.
Couldn't agree more. I also do you feel like now with the way politics kind of define identity, in that I would never date a guy who's a Trump person. You can't see that in person.
Right.
But you can sometimes get that from a profile. Mm-hmm. You're able to determine that a little bit, because sometimes like on Hinge it says, you know, I'm conservative. And being conservative doesn't necessarily mean I voted for Trump. It's more likely to mean that. But I don't want to date someone with conservative values.
Right.
And you can't see that in person.
No, you can't.
But you can read it on a profile.
Unless you bring it up, and then
unless you bring it up, and then, you know,
you expose yourself to maybe a very difficult, awkward conversation.
Yeah. And there's a lot of yeah, it is a difficult conversation. It should be a difficult conversation because there's nuance to things, but there's no nuance to the Trump conversation for me.
What's weird about that is that first of all, more men are conservative and more women are liberal. Mm-hmm. There's just a tendency.
Yeah. Because we like our bodies.
And like our bodies. And there is a little bit of cross pollination going on where conservative men don't mind dating liberal women, but liberal women want nothing to do with conservative men.
That's interesting.
It's not across the board, but I think just the way that the fractions are laid out. Yeah. But the messaging, like, on the one hand, I do agree that Democrats like dropped the ball on being helpful for men, but also men need to take accountability.
1,000%. By the way, there's nothing funnier to me. There's so many memes now about you know how everybody wore pink suits. Mm-hmm. All the Democrats wore pink suits to like protest Trump, and it was like a joint session. I don't know. I was just like, yeah, that's what you're gonna do. You're gonna roll up in a matching pink suit as everyone else. You think that's gonna make a dent in the situation we have? I mean, I get it. I understand why people are so disgusted and turned off by Democrats, and I also understand why people are disgusted and turned off by the other side. It's all disgusting. It's a hellscape right now. It really is. And it's not like I got some hot take on it, but I am just baffled by how insane things are now. I turn on the news every morning and I'm like, all right, here we go. What do we got today? And every day I'm like, why did I turn that on? I didn't need to listen to that.
I don't know what the right blend is for not, because it is like junk food for our brain effectively. If we're taking in negative information all the time, your brain is just as traumatized by thinking about something or seeing something as it is by experiencing it in person. Yeah. And the thing where I struggle is, where is the line between taking care of my mental health and turning away from it, but being informed enough to know what the fuck is going on aroround me so that I can have an opinion.
So help me God. I have to read this to you. I texted this to somebody yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely floored that you just said that. Shit, where is it?
I can't be the only one wondering that.
Where is it? I have to read this to you.
It's one of those things where I have to have.
I'm trying to figure out a balance between being informed and not losing my mind.
Yeah.
Literally texted that yesterday.
Yep.
Because it's like, I don't want to be this like ignorant, uninformed, dum-dum just walking around in the world. But I'm also stressed the fuck out constantly. So where is the line? And she was like, everyone I know is like trying to find a balance. And I'm like, is everyone trying to find a balance? Because I feel like people are just off the deep end in both ways. There's some people like, it's so funny to me when people are like, yeah, I'm just not really keeping up with politics right now. And I'm just like, really? It's usually men. And I don't want to be like, well, men are like this, no women are like this. But I usually like men are more like, I don't know, I'm just like trying not to follow it right now. Whereas like every woman I know is like in a full blown panic. Although I feel like we kind of are inherently drawn to a full blown panic because that's just kind of always been the state as a woman in this world.
It's true. But even remove the gender out of it and set that aside, it's impacting me in so many different ways. Like it's impacting me with work and it's impacting me with, I tried to log into FAFSA for my student loans a couple of weeks ago so that I could renew my income driven repayment plan. And because of some shit that either Trump or Elon did, right now they're fighting with FAFSA and they're trying to fire everybody. And I can't even go through, like you're not even allowed right now to do the income driven repayment plan. It's all frozen right now because of some bureaucracy shit. And so I don't know what the fuck's going on with my student loans right now. I can't change the amount that it is. I had to put a forbearance on it, at which point I'm like incurring interest still, but just not paying it for 60 days because I'm just trying to buy time until it gets figured out. But like, I don't know whether I'm going to have a $300 student loan payment or a $900 student loan payment. If they get rid of this program, I'm fucked.
Yeah.
So it's impacting me in like, never mind the Handmaid's Tale situation that we're like down the road towards.
By the way, next season's coming out.
I'm so
April
excited.
8th. Couldn't be more excited. Are we having watch parties?
We better.
Oh my gosh. I've truly never. Can we just have it at Rachel's house?
Yeah.
Because the parking.
I'll drive to the valley.
Everything we were talking about this, I'm now addressing the people listening. We were talking about this as soon as I got here. I don't like going places where the parking's an issue. I would rather drive farther and there be easy parking than drive somewhere close and it's just very difficult parking. I hate parking. I hate making a whole thing of it.
It's fair.
But yeah, Rachel's house is I feel like that's also an equal drive for both of us to her house.
It is.
Yeah, so we'll do Handmaid's Tale. But yeah, no, dude, I'm so excited. April 8th. Couldn't be more excited. I literally have it in my calendar. But yeah, no, it's in it. And then there's the element of like what's going on in Ukraine.
Yeah.
Like, so much of it is like affecting you very directly.
I don't know what to do with that too. And I think I can't even turn to my family for any kind of comfort with that or any kind of info because a lot of them are getting Russian propaganda news. So they have entirely different opinions on it than I do. They hate Zelensky.
What?
I know.
This is melting my brain right now. How do they hate him?
Well, because the news that they're getting is called, I forget what the name of the channel is. It's like One World Truth or something. Whatever the main news channel is that gets broadcast from Russia is what they're watching.
So what do they think is wrong with Zelensky?
That he's like a scam artist, that he's illegitimate, that there is, I mean, the same kind of propaganda we were hearing at the beginning from Russia.
Do they think he should just give over Ukraine to Russia? Is that what your family...
I am afraid to ask what they think the answer is. And I tread around it. And you know what? I don't even ask because I don't want to put myself in a situation where I'm frustrated with them because they are boomers and they don't go out of their way to get any information that isn't from the news. It's not like they're online looking at real world stories from people or any kind of legitimate journalism. So I try to just tiptoe around it. I don't even ask.
I am shook right now. This is absolutely unbelievable to me.
I mean, my mom very casually, she almost didn't even tell me that our childhood home, that the house that I lived in for the first 5 years, the apartment building got hit by like a drone or a shell or something at the beginning of last year. She like forgot to tell me.
Wow. Imagine like Imagine we're living in a world where that news just isn't top of mind. Like the fact that your mom found out that information and didn't immediately tell you, because there's so many other things going on in your mom's head that are of more pressing matters in regards to the country that she grew up in.
Yeah, and she was like, oh, well, you know, it wasn't even our side of the building. So?
Wow.
It's always been a dream of mine to go back. I've never gotten a chance to go back, and they have a very different relationship to it because they were oppressed there. They lived their childhoods in this. I have this like romantic image of it because I was 5 when I left. So I don't know what it's like to struggle there. They do. So they've never wanted to go back. They don't want to spend their precious vacation time to go back. And
yeah, I want to go there. I want to see the world that my family came from.
So do I, really badly. It's a dream of mine. I hope that I get to go back. I hope that I get to maybe be part of some kind of reconstruction effort, whether that's like Habitat for Humanity or just some way to give back and go see it.
Have you been to St. Petersburg or Moscow or any Russian cities?
No, I haven't. Besides, I had a layover in Moscow on my way to Italy, and I had like 8 hours at the airport there.
I'm sorry. Why did you have a layover in Moscow?
Because I'm cheap, and that was the flight that made sense at the time. But I'll tell you this, I was in Russia for 8 hours, and my phone got hacked twice. Do not connect to the Wi-Fi in any Russian airport ever.
Wow.
Yeah. I was like, your own people?
That is so nutty. Yeah, I really want to go to Russia.
I do too.
My mom and dad did their honeymoon in Moscow and St. Petersburg.
That's an interesting choice for a honeymoon.
I mean, if you met my mom, you'd be like, that makes sense. Yeah, I remember seeing the pictures from their honeymoon. I mean, it was like stunning. Absolutely. Like St. Petersburg is the St. Petersburg Basilica. Is that what it is?
Yeah. With the domes and the colorful.
Unreal.
I want to go see that too. I have this fantasy, like growing up, I loved the cartoon movie Anastasia. And I'm like, I just want to go be Anastasia for a week and run around and drink vodka in a fur coat and do the thing.
I mean, honestly, I'm in. You sold it to me. You fully sold that to me.
Yeah.
So just running around in a fur coat. I don't even like fur coats, but I want to drink vodka in a fur coat.
Fur coat,
in Russia.
ball gown, vodka, chilled vodka, caviar sandwiches.
It's so funny. If you told me I had to wear a ball gown tomorrow, I would stress out so hard. I hate dresses.
Yeah.
But saying that I have to go to Russia, wear a ball gown, and drink vodka in Russia with a fur coat, I'm like, yeah, I'm into that. Then I'm into it.
It's cosplay in a way.
Yeah. We just cosplay as like the Russian women, rich Russian women. Because my family was not rich in Russia. I mean, they weren't rich here either, but, you know, they weren't destitute. I mean, they were destitute in Russia. They were, you know, they lived in shtetls.
Yeah, ours
and had
too.
to flee from pogroms.
The home that I had grown up in, it was a 400 square foot 1-bedroom apartment, and it was me, my parents, and my grandma and my grandpa when he was around, because he would travel for work, but it was 4 adults. What did he do for work? He did mechanic work on ships, like naval ships, Russian naval ships. So he traveled the whole world and just worked as a mechanic on those ships. So he wasn't around much. Yeah.
Do you think he liked not being around?
Potentially. I don't know. He's an interesting one. I look up to him the most in the most like fatherly kind of way. Like
Is he still alive?
Yeah, and he's such a badass, and he's 89 and he goes to the gym like fucking.
Where does he live?
Cleveland. He goes to the gym 3 hours a day every day.
Really?
He swims. He works out. For an 89-year-old.
Wow.
Yeah.
What does he work at all anymore?
He will still tinker around under a car here and there, but he was a mechanic for a very long time when we came to America.
Yeah.
He worked in an auto shop, and he would fix our friends and relatives' cars for them. He would fuck around on my cars when I was living there.
That's so cute.
It's adorable.
Wow. Still doing it.
Yeah.
89. I mean, staying active is the key to it all.
Absolutely. I look at him and I'm like, oh, okay, that's why.
Is he still married to your grandma?
No, so she passed.
Okay.
2018.
Were they married until the end?
They were married-ish.
What does that mean?
I don't know how much I want to disclose, but they were like kind of in a bit of a, I don't want to even call it a loveless marriage, but they were just like more roommates.
Yeah.
It was that kind of vibe. Like he has a lot of love and respect for her still, but they weren't romantic for a long time. She was also ill and bedridden for decades.
Oh. What was the illness?
Some kind of rare diabetes or something, something crazy, something that happened with, I don't know, like she had gotten some sort of illness and then the way that it was treated exasperated it. And she just would have died if we hadn't come to America, basically. Like whatever healthcare they were administering to her in Ukraine wasn't sufficient. And so she didn't start walking again until we moved here, and she was able to get care in America. And then she at least became mobile again. Monty, stop it. Come here. Oh my God. Come here. Get back here. He'll be back. It's okay.
He's so cute.
Monty, no.
Monty, come here.
Come here right now. Right now.
Come on. Up.
You got to come hang out on the couch. Right here. Right here. Come on. Good boy.
Oh, he's so cute.
Stop it. There we go. Back up. Oh, You gotta stop. Okay. No. Back in action. Anywho, I want to get back to the conversation around online dating because I do think it's just so curious. Besides too many red teeth or
too many red teeth. Are you going to red flags? Or is that what your brain was going to red flags? Too many red teeth. By the way, I swear to God, if I see a clown on the dating app today, it'll be because you put that into the algorithm.
Oh my God. Can I tell you this? This is so weird. I had a dream last night that I went to a concert of a very specific band, and I woke up this morning to an email that they were coming to Los Angeles and tickets were going on sale. What is that?
They've implanted into your brain.
What is that? Is that telepathy?
I don't know.
It freaked me the fuck out.
It's some witchy shit, though.
It is some witchy shit. Yeah. But pin in that. What are your non-shallow red flags?
Red flags. Oh, I hate it when guys in profiles will be like, they spell out the things that women can't be.
Ooh, yeah, that's
like
a
that's
really good
immediately one. Like you're starting from a place of like, I don't want a woman who does this, or this. Instead of being like, I love when, I love a woman who can, go camping one weekend and then be a great +1 to a date. Like, or be a +1 to a wedding. I mean, even that, I'm like, kind of like, like, don't tell me what I should be or shouldn't be. Like, just, tell me about you. It's your profile. Tell me about, like, oh, I love doing X, Y, and Z. Like, your profile is an opportunity for me to learn about you, more than it is for you to tell me, like, here are the things I like in my profile. I say, I'll just open my profile because I think I do a really great job.
Yeah. And I've never seen yours. I'm excited about this. That's such a good one, though. I've actually mentioned that before as a way that people should guide themselves around profiles. If it's all about what they don't want, then there's no substance there at all. Like, don't tell me what you don't want. I don't care. Tell me why I should bother with you.
Yeah. So I wrote, I want someone who ... can do witty banter. I like a smart guy with a sense of humor. Let's talk about everything and nothing. Actions speak louder than words, but be a man of your word. Let's laugh and hold hands until the clock runs out.
That's beautiful.
Thanks. And then it says, I'm looking for a long-term relationship, open to short-term. And I wrote, trying to find a co-conspirator to make magic on a permanent basis.
Oh.
One thing I'll never do again, fall in love with a seasonal item at Trader Joe's. The quarterly heartbreak is too painful only to reconcile a year later. And then a random fact that I love. The hyoid is the only bone in the human body that doesn't articulate with another bone. Also, a group of owls is called a parliament. Sorry, that's two. So I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm not as specific in teaching you about myself. I mean, who knows? I don't know.
I think those are telling of your character. Like, knowing you, I feel like those are fun.
Yeah.
You took something really serious and really light and showed that you can do both in that way, right? Yeah. And then it just shows where your priorities are, that you're trying to find someone that you have a good, strong mental connection with.
Yeah, like, let's have, like, good convo. Like, I mean, I think that's one of the things that I liked about my ex is we could just talk like all the time. Like, I am a talker. Like, I talk for a living. it is so rare to find someone where you can really just talk and never run out of things to say.
And be comfortable sharing even your craziest idea.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I think conversation and laughter is important. And I think also like being able to like be serious and not serious. We don't need to have, too much in either direction. I do think it's a red flag when a guy is always has to be like jokey.
It's annoying.
And it's
because
like,
then they're like trying too hard.
Yeah. And it's like, just be.
Mm-hmm.
Just exist.
When you say you want sense of humor, do you designate that as you want him to be funny or you want to share the same sense of humor with him? Because I think for me, I care less about someone being funny, like trying to be jokey, as opposed to
sharing a sense of humor.
Sharing a sense of humor.
Mm-hmm. I want a shared sense of humor.
Yeah, me too.
That is very hard.
It's tough. It's tough for us because I think as comedians we're a little like darker naturally with what we find
By the
funny.
way, you just made me realize something very deep that I need to share with my therapist, is that is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a shared perception of what is funny.
Yeah, and I need him to accept me and think I'm funny over me thinking it's more important that he thinks I'm funny because me being funny is such a core part of my identity.
Yes. 1,000%. Yes.
Like if I'm bombing with my person, that's not my person.
Yeah, that's not your person for sure. I think the guy that I'm kind of talking to right now, I said something. I have this expression that I say, and I learned it from an old boss, and it was like one of my favorite expressions ever. If someone does something crazy, I'll be like, "What are they on glue?" And I said that to the guy that I'm seeing, and he's like, "It's the best expression I've ever heard." Like, it's not "What are they on drugs?" What are they drunk? It's like, what are you on glue? Like, it's just something so like atypical. And he like loves that I say that. And I'm like, yeah, I've only ever met one other person that said it. So, shout out to Sal from Sal's Comedy Hole back in the day. So that, and then, I said something this morning. And I said something, I'm like, what are they going to, I don't even, oh, somebody was like, it's just too much money. I was like, what are you going to pay in crickets? Like, it's things cost money. What, like, we got no other options. And he's like, the fact that you said crickets.
That's something my grandpa would say.
And it's just like, yeah, I don't know if it, but he was like, he's like, I love how like, he's like, you have a special way of saying things. And I was like, oh, thanks for like appreciating that about me,
That's valuable, and you obviously want it to be appreciated. I have like I don't always whip this out, I think mostly because I don't date a lot, but there's a joke that I think can determine whether someone has the same sense of humor as me. Mm-hmm. It's not my joke. I don't know if you remember Kevin Lee. He was like a open micer that was running around, but he had this.
I remember that name, yeah.
So he had this great joke that was, I can't believe Gen Z laughs at September 11th. I can't believe Gen Z laughs at September 11th. They weren't even around for it. So how could they possibly know how funny it was?
That's really funny.
And that to me is a barometer of whether someone has my same sense of humor. Yeah. It's like dark enough and silly enough that if someone's like flabbergasted that I said that, they're not going to appreciate very much else that comes out of my mouth.
I feel like there's two jokes I have that are on that level of barometer for me. Understanding what is dark or like gross. The dark for me, Jake Weissman's joke. I know I'm gaining weight because my belt doesn't fit around my neck anymore. Which is, I'm sorry.
Great. That's so
it's
good.
It's a stunning joke.
Oh, mwah.
And then if there's Sandra Yocolano had this tweet that
God, he's so funny.
So funny. But it was a tweet and a joke that he did. But it goes, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, good for you. I didn't see that coming. Which I think is like, if you don't appreciate how like great and like brilliant that joke is, I'm like, we have nowhere to go. Mm-hmm. And then the last one is why am I blanking on his name right now? He runs the weed show at the Comedy Store.
Oh fuck.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. His face is in my head. What is his? Jesus Christ. His face is in my head.
Mike.
No.
Mike.
Not Sal. Not.
No. He talks about
twins,
weed.
right?
No, he doesn't have kids.
Oh,
kids. He smokes up weed all the time.
Damn it.
Oh my God, my brain. Holy shit, I need to look this up. Mikey Glazer.
Oh,
my God.
okay. I
Mikey
should have known
Glazer.
that.
Holy mother of God.
I was thinking of a different weed show.
He has this joke. It's a tweet.
Former guest on the pod, actually.
He wrote, God, I don't remember eating all this diarrhea. And it is such a gross, perfect joke. And so my whole thing is like, if you can't find that funny, we're never going to get along. Or just like, you don't even need to laugh as hard as I'm laughing, but like at least appreciate how clever it is, because it's a really clever joke.
All three of those are excellent.
Yeah. So there's a couple. I probably have more. But yeah, if you can't laugh at the same jokes as me, I remember I was talking to this guy and he was like saying how he just absolutely loves Dane Cook. And I was like, still? I can maybe get behind you being like, back in the day, you were a real big Dane Cook fan, but like, still? You think his stuff still holds up? Like that's where you're at? Or you like his new stuff? Which one is it? Like, 'cause I'm absolutely baffled that either one is doing something for you. But yeah, no, shared sense of humor. That's what it is. It isn't just, are you funny? Do you make me laugh? It's, can we laugh together?
Mm-hmm. That's my number one thing, where it's, I don't care. I get enough of a fix from my friends being funny that I don't necessarily need to come home to someone cracking jokes. And if I don't find one, I think I get like really awkward and I kind of go into freeze mode if someone says something that I don't think is funny and I don't know how to respond to it. So I don't need that as much. Like
I wrote that in my profile, like, let's laugh and hold hands till we die. Like, I didn't say till we die, I said till the clock runs out, but it's till we die. Like that's, to me, that's what like love is. Like we get to laugh and be best friends forever. Someone once said this to me and I just think it's one of the most perfect things and I'll probably butcher it, but, your love and connection with each other might start in the bedroom. It might grow in the bedroom, but ultimately it ends up on the front porch. And if you guys can't be on the front porch together, that's not a long-term relationship. Yeah. That's not like your person. And I think, I always use the expression, my person. I do love that expression, but I think there's, you can have more than one person, but ultimately it's like, who's your people, who's that person or peoples that you're going to do forever with. And I do think, the older I get, it is in the form of like women too. It is in the form of like your friendships.
It's just such a safer space that's created by those female relationships.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's like Jamie, who is, your roommate / life partner at the moment. Jamie's one of those people where I'm just like, oh yeah. Like I just met Jamie and it's like, she just like, not that other people don't like, I don't connect with other people, but like Jamie like kind of just like clicked in my soul.
Yeah, that's how our relationship started as well.
And it's just like, I don't know. She's like one of those people where it's like, maybe because she wasn't a comic,
but she understands us.
And yeah, she's just, there's sometimes you just meet people and you're like, oh, I'll be holding hands with you forever. And like, I feel like we have like a group of girlfriends, our text group. Like, I feel like, I don't know.
There's a lot of strength in there.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I feel like we're all, we don't see each other all the time, but we're all connected. But yeah, female friendship. I remember when I was in my 20s, I went to this psychologist, and she would always, I'd be having issues with this friend or that friend or whatever, and she was like, what's really important, she's like, is that you guys are friends and that you are able to have these issues and like keep coming back to each other, because ultimately your female friendships are going to be one of the greatest gifts in your life. And I was always just like, oh, she's so dramatic. Like, fucking female friendships are going to be the greatest gift. She's like, they're ultimately one day going to be the most important people in your life. And she was an older woman. She was probably in her like late 60s when I started seeing her. And I was like, oh, damn, dude, she's so right.
I've experienced that. I'm also like perpetually single, so those are like my main connections. That's
Yeah.
the thing that feeds me and keeps me from feeling lonely, and it's just like a reliable place I can go to.
Also, do you feel like maybe, this is a thought I had the other day.
Should we live in a village together? Is this
I mean,
where you're
obviously,
going with this?
we're all ending up together for sure. I mean, absolutely 1000%. But I do think, like, I have Buddy, my dog. I do think Buddy is part of the reason why when I got out of my last, like, very, very, very big, serious long-term relationship, it was like 2013. I didn't really have another serious relationship until probably like 21. And I had relationships in there, but like real big relationships, not in that time. But I had gotten Buddy after I had broken up, and I feel like Buddy filled the void of feeling lonely.
It's true.
To the point where I'm like, oh, I don't really need a relationship. I don't feel lonely. But I feel like the loneliness is the thing that is the impetus for wanting to be in a relationship, so you don't have to feel lonely.
Right.
And I feel like Buddy masked that, so it never became a thing for me.
I agree with that. People talk about how we need, I forget what the term is. It's a bit of a creepy term where it's like, we need to be touched. Like, we need contact all the time. And I think having a dog fills that need where it's like, oh, I'm always cuddling with him. I'm always kissing him. So I don't feel a void of physical affection because I'm getting that from an animal.
Interesting.
Even though it's not the same.
There's an actual like thing for it. But yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the reasons maybe why like you're perpetually single too, is like, we don't feel this like burning need to like get into a relationship because we're satiated
On the
via
friendships.
our dogs and our friendships and all these other things where it's like, oh, but it's like, I don't know. In this conversation, I've realized that it is the shared sense of humor that is the reason I want to be in a relationship, and I will walk away from anyone that doesn't have that. Because it's like I don't care otherwise. Because
that's the thing that's gonna maintain and stay. Even going back to my grandpa at 89, like he's so fucking funny. He makes these insane comments. Like I was inviting him to come visit me in LA, and he said it in Russian, but he was like, "Great, I'll pack my shoelaces." Like what?
What?
He'll just say like the silliest, most unexpected thing, and when the physical stuff falls off or businesses aren't going well, like your work aspirations
money
are
goes
falling
away,
apart.
when your looks go away, when your health goes away,
all you have is your conversations.
All you have, what are you gonna fucking laugh about? Because you gotta laugh. You gotta laugh.
Because we're all gonna die.
Yeah, we're all gonna die, and that's the show, you guys. Find me on all my social media talking about death and its imminent arrival next week.
Well, the last thing I'll ask you, because I am trying to be cognizant of time, but I'm curious with this. Do you feel like there's a bit of a hurdle to jump with dating as a female comedian? Do you think it's like harder for us? Do you have to be weary of meeting people who are like big who are massive comedy fans and it like gets weird?
If you want to have a normal life relationship trajectory with a partner, do not be a comedian unless you're gay. If you're gay, if you're dating women, be a comedian. Fine. Do not. No. I don't know any female comedian who I'm like, I mean, you know what? That's not true. I think Beth Stelling, I like her relationship that she has currently.
There's a few who have it together.
She looks fantastic.
Yeah.
She looks fantastic. Looks like the look of what she has with her guy seems great. Beth Stelling, Sarah Silverman with Rory, relationships that I really, Sarah Tiana with her husband. Sarah Tiana is just such a solid person. I cannot say that enough. I absolutely love her. Eliza with her husband. But those are all the exceptions and not the rule. I don't know. Every relationship, there's such a strain. I don't know. It's just having a relationship is hard enough as it is. But yeah, I do think there's guys who are like, interested in kind of stealing your shine because we're, the big ball of energy. And then there's guys who are like, oh, I want to be a comedian, so I'm going to steal your shine in that way. But like, yeah, I think every guy is like, oh, I love a funny lady until they like meet a real funny lady. Yeah. Dating as a female comedian. Honestly, in hindsight, I would have found a solid relationship, gotten into it, put roots down, went into comedy, and then burnt that whole thing to the fucking ground, honestly. But at least I would have gotten a kid out of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I just want a kid. I just want to be a mom. I want to do comedy too, to a degree, but like, I don't know. I feel like being a mom's like the coolest shit there is, and I'm like kind of bummed that it might not happen for me. But I don't know. It is what it is. Like everyone's like, it'll happen in like one way or another, you know. And it's like, I'm down to be a stepmom. I just like, I want to like, you know, like I just want to like love something.
I get that. I want a family.
Yeah, I want a
really
family.
do.
Having a family just seems so dope.
It does seem really dope. And I was, I don't know if it was some kind of like self-destructive or like just not wanting to admit it or not wanting to see it or whatever. I didn't feel this way until about a year ago. My nephew was born. That's what changed my mind.
Yeah. My dad died. And that's what, and I, you know, I found old journals where I was talking about how I did want kids. Like I have wanted kids, but in my mind, I think just because I had a sick dad, for those of you are listening to me for the first time, my dad had Parkinson's for 18 years. So because I had a sick dad, I don't think it clicked in my head that I wanted to like love and nurture something and take care of something, because I already was doing that with my dad.
Sure.
And then the second he died, I was like, oh, I do really want to be a mom. Oh, I do really want a kid. And it just was this kind of like, you know, awakening. But it's like once it awakens, you're like, oh no, this is something I like really want. And you're like, what do, you know?
Mm-hmm. I have to start. I don't date. I need to date. I'm like shooting myself in the foot. I make all these excuses to not date.
I don't know
and
why you're not
here.
dating. You're so hot and terrific.
Well, thank you. But it's that thing of like, right? I go meet a guy and he broke his foot and is wearing a cast.
Yeah. He's got too many teeth.
Right? He's got too many teeth.
Yeah. He's got red teeth.
He's making bad jokes.
Yeah. Oh no.
It's my own shit that I have to work on.
I mean, same. But here's something I can say. You should just be going out on dates just to get practice.
I know. I need to do the exposure therapy.
Like in the same way you're like, you know, teaching yourself how to like produce this own podcast for yourself. Just teach yourself how to produce a relationship for yourself. Just go and like, also like go get material out of it. Like there's something so funny to me about like, you know, you went on a date with a handicap guy who wasn't actually handicapped. It was a temporary handicap. And even a temporary handicap, you're like, I could never. And then you have to go and date a guy with a mental handicap. Like, I mean, what are you, Jesus.
Which they all have.
Which they all have. So ultimately, we're just doing community service. So.
Absolutely. Well, I could talk to you all day.
Well, I love you.
I
could talk to you all day.
Oh. Nicole Aimee Schreiber, where can people find you?
Find me on my social media at Nicole Aimee on most things. NicoleAimee. Yeah, my social media. I have a website, but who gives a fuck? By the way, it's the same. It's the URL is the same as all my social media. So
terrific.
Yeah,
thank you so much for doing the show.
Thanks so much for having me. I love you.
And thank you everybody for listening.